Ladies and gentlemen, it's spoiler season day 2 for Everfest, and oh my god, did spoiler season not let up today. We have a ton of cards to talk about, and perhaps the most powerful high roll card in the game. Straight up, it's probably the most powerful high roll card and maybe the most confusing card in the game as well. But we'll get to that after we talk about Skull Crushers. This is the new Majestic Brute equipment that blocks 1, has Battle Worn, so after you block with it, you can keep it around, which is really good. Things with Battle Worn just haven't been really printed, and that's the fact that this is printed is a kind of a big deal. Whenever you roll 5 or 6 on a die, your Brute attacks get +1. Whenever you roll a 1 on a die, just destroy this. Just destroy this. So if you were like, you know, I want to play Brute and I want them to take some of the variance away, this is like, nah, we're going to lean into the variance. Look, just accept the fate of the dice. We're just going to go crazy with it. I feel like that's the talent, is just rolling with the flexibility in the punches, if it were. This card is really cool if you like rolling dice. It's also really high rolly in that respect. If you hit a 5 or a 6, you get the buff. If you miss hard. There are no Gambler's Gloves to save you on a miss. You are running Skull Crushers instead of Gambler's Gloves. But you know what? This is really fun. I plan to play this card. I don't play a ton of Brute, I'll be honest. I don't play a ton of Brute, but I want to play this card because sometimes there's just this tipping point of variance where it's like, okay, at this point, all bets are off. It doesn't really matter. We're just here to see how many times I can roll not the 1. That's literally why we're here. You build the deck, you play Skull Crushers. You do get benefits off of like constantly rolling for like Barkbone strapping, and then maybe rolling for your Scab Skins multiple times. The Barkbone, of course, only once, but all the things that encourage you to roll dice, you just jam them all in a deck and you play Skull Crushers and you get that sweet value. Speaking of high roller, 0 cost Brute action at rare. With the cycle, it'll change the number that you roll, the numbers that it's looking for. Blocks 3 and intimidates. Again, yes, Intimidate, more Intimidate cards. That is what Brute, I think, needs and what I want to see in Brute. And so we have Intimidate. You just play this, get Intimidate. If you have rolled a 4, 5, or 6 on a die this turn, instead Intimidate twice. That is really good. That's at the very least, it's really fun, but it's really good too. And so obviously at the very bottom, go again. But you're basically encouraged to play this. It's like printing literally just a card that says Intimidate. At base level, if we're looking at range analysis, what the range this card can provide. At base level, this blocks 3, costs nothing, and intimidates. That's not bad, man. That's not bad. And then, if you have something that has allowed you to roll that turn, well, if you roll a 4, 5, or a 6, you get to double Intimidate, which can lead to some crazy things. Again, Brute is one of those classes that can do a lot of scary things if you can land rolls, if you can line up hands, things like that. And so this looks like a fun card to add to that, in my opinion. Spring Tidings. This is huge for the game as someone drives by and revs their engine in the background. This is huge for the game because this is a 0 cost ninja attack action that attacks for 2, blocks for 3, and is a Benji specialization. And this fundamentally means one of a few things. One, that this thought that everyone's getting a new specialization, this could prove that everybody's going to get a new specialization in this set. What it could also prove is that some classes, or some heroes I should say, are going to get a new specialization. The third thing I could prove is that like only Benji's gonna get a specialization, which would be weird, but like maybe all of the young heroes, maybe all of the heroes, period. All I know, I want to see if there's a Shiana specialization. Look, that's all I want to know right now. Is there a Shiana specialization? I would love that. Let's talk about Benji's. It attacks for 2, which is fantastic with his ability. If you don't know, Benji really likes 2 and less attacks for his actual ability because they become unblockable. It says when it hits, when Spring Tidings hits, draw a card for each other attack action card with 2 or less base attack you control on the combat chain. go again. At its base level, this is a 2 attack that's unblockable thanks to Benji, that when it hits, it draws a card for nothing. If you haven't done anything, it's just a 2 attack, go again, cost nothing, pitches yellow, just pure. Like, honestly, you could pitch this away to double Kodachi if you wanted to. But if you build a deck with 2 go-agains, like a lot of 2 go-agains or 1 go-agains, you don't even need them to hit. You just need to play them out of your hand and then play this, and you just draw cards if your opponent has no way of stopping you. You bait out their defense reactions, you bait out their equipment blocks, you maybe come in with a couple of Kodachis without breaking the combat chain, and then you drop Spring Tidings and you draw mass amounts of cards. Oh my god, you draw 3 cards off this, you are going wide. You can this could be the card that allows you to go wider than any other class, or sorry, I should say any other hero in the game, including other ninjas. You go like this. Oh man, this is gonna be a lot of fun. I already like playing Benji, and I like the like low attacks version of Benji. This is like the silver bullet. Battering Bolt, a 2-cost majestic ranger arrow attack, attacks for 6. You don't see a lot of 2-cost arrows. In fact, I think this is the only 2-cost arrow. This one comes for 6, it blocks for 3. You can only play an arrow from your arsenal, and only if you have a bow. When it hits a hero, they reveal their hand and discard all cards other than action cards. So any attacks just go away. They then lose 1 health for each card discarded this way, which is crazy. This also hits like instants, defense reactions, things like that. There's a lot of talk online from what I've seen since this was spoiled, is like, how much value does this actually get? Do you actually just jam a bunch of these into your deck, or do you kind of steer away from it and not play too many of them? It's a 2 for 6 that you have to fire from your arsenal, of course. I was saying, you know, this is an easy combination. You pitch a blue, so you start your turn off with Increase the Tension. Increase the Tension gives a buff and gives the defense reactions can't be played from hand effect to your next arrow. So it gives a +3 if you play the red. That costs 1. You pitch a blue, so you float 2 resources, then you play Battering Bolt from your arsenal if you've arsenaled it on a prior turn. That's not bad because it's attacking for 9. You can even combine this with like some of the other big buff arrows. You just play this in Azalea, you give it Dominate. I could see this being a scary on-hit effect, possibly to certain decks. So yeah, it's a solid card overall. It just depends on where you want to run it. I think obviously it goes more into Azalea than it does into Lexi. Pulverize. Oh my god, this card is beautiful. It is the largest attack in the game. Today we have like all of these crazy spice cards. Today is crazy, man. Yesterday was crazy with the Bravo reveal. Today is crazy too. 10 cost, 14 attack Guardian card. It's a majestic, has a new keyword, Heave. We can expect more Heave keywords. This is a new keyword, and they hinted that there were going to be, I think, 4 Heaves, or maybe something like that. 4 new keywords, or a keyword used 4 times. Heave 3 says this, so let's explain the Heave keyword. At the beginning of your end phase, so at the end of your turn, if Pulverize is in your hand and you have no arsenal, you can pay 3 resources from your hand and put Pulverize face up. If you do, you create 3 seismic surges. So you basically float a card from your hand, you pitch it away, you float 3 resources. Think of it as floating it, because those 3 resources become 3 seismic surge tokens that will float into your next turn and discount Pulverize, which is face up in your arsenal, and your opponent can see that, oh, they're going to be able to play Pulverize for 7 next turn. It's going to come for 14, and the benefit here too in doing this is that Pulverize comes out of your hand and a blue comes out of your hand, and so you get 2 extra draws, which is pretty solid overall. So a really cool keyword in this scenario, Heave, being able to drop it into your arsenal face up, telling your opponent what's coming, but also cycling your hand in a different way. Very smart to cycle your hand. It's kind of a cool move, LSS. When Pulverize hits a hero, so like when you actually attack with this 14 attack action, when it hits a hero, their first attack during their next turn has -4, but they're probably dead, especially if they're playing Kano. They're probably dead. This card's insane. I don't see why you wouldn't run this. It is expensive, but the upside is there. Yeah, this card is really, really cool. Also really cool are these next 2. Okay, Helm of Sharp Eye is a majestic equipment spoiled by Team Covenant. Attack reaction, pay 1 resource. So this is on your equipment. Also, I want to say this. This is the first warrior helm equipment, warrior headpiece that we've had in the game, and it comes with battle worn because, of course, they didn't have enough armor, and they blocks for 1. Attack reaction, pay 1, destroy it, banish the top card of your deck. You can play it this combat chain. Activate this ability only if you control a weapon with attack greater than twice its base attack. So in other words, you're only ever playing this after you've played attack reactions onto a weapon. Does that make sense? And I will also say this. If you're playing Dawnblade, Dawnblade comes for 3. And if you wanted to play Dawnblade for 3 and then you want to attack with, like an attack reaction, pump it with an attack reaction for 3, you still can't use the attack reaction here. But what you could do is play Centauri Cels or Centauri Saber, like Kasai or Bolton, and you run the Sabers, which attack for 2, then play a 3 buff on top of that, and then you can banish the top card of your deck and play that card as well. It kind of wants you to play attack reactions so that the card that you banish you can then play. But technically you could banish an attack. Like, again, Bolton, if you're playing as Bolton, you could banish an attack and then you could slam that attack down following your Raiden attack. It fits really well in Raiden because your Raiden's attacking for 0, right? So, like, this is like the perfect Raiden card. Or why am I saying Raiden? Bolton. It's the perfect Bolton card because Bolton has Raiden. This makes charge Bolton pretty spicy. Either way, it's going to look fantastic in cold foil. Guys, I love the art on this card. I love the art on this card. I'm such a sucker for the art on this card. So good. Blues and reds just have it just for me. Okay, and this card is good. In the Swing, costs 0. It's a warrior attack reaction. Play in the Swing if you've attacked 2 or more times with weapons this turn. Again, yes, double swords. I love double swords. That's like so where I'm at. Target weapon attack gains +3. It's a 0 target weapon attack gains +3, but you can only play it if you've attacked with 2 or more times with weapons this turn. So basically, you could play it on the second swing of Dawnblade because you've attacked a second time with it. You could play it if you go like Kasai Centauri Sellsword style, hi-ya, and then hi-ya, or you could do the same thing with Bolton. Like, come on, you play it on the second one. It's like second swing, but it's an attack reaction, and it costs you nothing, and second swing costs you 1. So this is a pretty good card. I like it. I'm honestly just gonna put it into like a Kasai deck because I love the art on this card. I don't know if I'd play this in Bolton because it's not a light card, and Saber Bolton kind of wants light cards. This card, I kind of went like, at first when I saw this card, I kind of went like, and now I think, ooh, because Kraken's Aether Vein is like control wizard's dream, right? Once per turn instant, pay 3, deal 1 arcane target damage to target opposing hero. Okay, so you deal 1 arcane to them. If they choose not to stop the arcane, you draw a card for each arcane damage dealt this way. Okay, wizard weapon, majestic staff, 2-handed. Yeah. Look, just hear me out. This is like so a control player's like best friend. You block with 3 cards from hand. You have a blue left in your hand. Your opponent has played all their cards, or they are going to clearly pass the turn based on their play line. You pitch the last blue in your hand to hit them for 1 with Kraken's Aether Vein. They take the 1, you draw a card, you're back up to 1 card. Let's say it's a blue. On your turn, you arsenal that card, or you blue them again. You like pitch the blue and attack with Kraken's Aether Vein. Then they have to choose with their 4-card hand, do they want to toss a card or do they want to give you a card? It's 1 damage. I mean, just give them a card. Their turn's like whatever. It's fine. It's over. And so you get a card, you choose to arsenal it, and you draw up to 4, and then you repeat said process, rinse and repeat. So there's like a play line, a very basic play line that allows you to use this on your turn, use this on their turn, rinse and repeat, and make them either lose a card on your turn and play a 3-card hand the entire game so that you don't draw cards, or take 1 and then have basically free deck cycling. This is a really cool card, and one that I'm just going to say this, if they have a way to buff arcane damage that comes from a weapon, both this and what was the other one from Crucible of War? The other one, I forgot. Both of them have some very interesting implications if you can buff arcane damage from weapons going forward. This card is stupid. This card's stupid. Fractal Replication costs 0. It's an illusionist attack action card with star for an attack and star for a defense. When you play or defend with Fractal Replication, it gains the abilities and effects of all illusionist attack action cards on the combat chain. We're going to come back to that. Fractal Replication's attack is equal to the greatest base attack among all illusionist attacks on the combat chain. So basically, it just copies the best attack on your combat chain. Fractal Replication's defense is equal to the greatest base defense of all illusionist attack action cards on the combat chain. Basically, if you block with this, it'll copy the strongest block of all your illusionist attack action cards that are blocking. Okay, so forget about the blocking thing. It's blocking for 3, probably. I mean, unless there's some crazy illusionist attack action card that blocks for 5 in this set, it's blocking for 3. Okay. Here's what and forget about the attack. It's attacking for whatever you attack with that's huge before this. Now, here's where things get crazy. If you attack with a Herald and it gets destroyed, this card does nothing because it's not on the combat chain. If you attack with a Herald and the Herald hits and it goes to your soul, this card, I believe, does nothing because it's not on the combat chain. If you're not playing a Herald, or let's just say it this way, if you attack with a Herald, it doesn't get popped from the Phantasm effect, but it does get fully blocked. It stays on the combat chain. Okay, are you following? I'm trying to break down how this card works for you. Just take a breath. Here we go. Now, in that instance, you can play this, and again, this is for Heralds only. You can play this card. It will copy whatever the abilities and effects that were on the Herald that got blocked out still on the combat chain. Now, it means it would copy Phantasm most likely, so this can get popped in that instance. What it doesn't, well, and I'll say this, if you use Dreamweavers to take away Phantasm, it won't copy Phantasm, which is pretty cool as well. Now, if you're playing a card that doesn't get popped, that doesn't go to your soul, like a non-Herald Illusionist attack, like Enigma Chimera, which doesn't go to your soul, just hits for damage, or Phantasmaclasm, then this would only be copying, like for example, Enigma Chimera, it would just be copying vanilla stats. But Phantasmaclasm, it would copy the effect of Phantasmaclasm and allow you to do Phantasmaclasm-y stuff like looking at hand and that sort of thing. Now here's where things get really crazy. There's a card in this game called Phantasmify. Phantasmify will turn any attack into an illusionist attack. Any attack action card into an illusionist attack action card. So if you play, this is weird. If you play, and the people are using this as an example, E-Strike, Enlightened Strike, and you choose draw a card and somehow give it go again because you turn it into you use Phantasmify to turn E-Strike into an illusionist attack, and then Luminaris gives it go again. I should make a separate video. I don't know what I'm doing. I do know what I'm trying to explain, but this is just too long. Basically, this can copy E-Strike and draw you a bunch of cards. This can copy if you pummel a big attack, it'll copy the pummel effect, the on-hit effect of pummel, because pummel grants the effect to said card, and so then Fractal Replication will replicate that effect. I love this card and I hate it. There's going to be so many random questions about this card. I'm just going to make a separate video on it. We'll explain it. We'll go into like the depths. This card, by the way, I will say, this card has like the highest possibility of being crazy, of hitting like high rolls. Like this to me seems like the craziest power level card. Those are the spoiler cards for today, guys. Day 2, crazy stuff. Day 2, and some crazier stuff coming. My spoiler is on Friday at 6 p.m. Central. Friday 6 p.m. Central. Be there or be square. We're gonna premiere it. It'll be fun. We'll all sit in the waiting room. We'll watch the video together. It's not too terribly long, but I did enjoy making it, and I hope you enjoy watching it. So be there Friday, because Thursday I'm doing a Reddit AMA. Hey, if you want to come hang out with me on Reddit for an hour, our Flesh and Blood TCG. I'm gonna do an AMA. Ask me anything. I can't tell you my spoiler a day early though, so don't ask me what my spoiler is. I will not answer that question, or will I? Will I? I don't know. As always, everybody, thanks for watching.